My best friend Amy, 37-year-old female, just got married last week. I was her maid of honor, and I worked extremely hard to ensure her wedding was a success. For the most part, it went well. My friend looked beautiful, the food was great, and the flowers and decorations were incredible. She was so happy, and it made me feel proud to be a part of the group that worked to give her such an important day. Amy and I have been friends since we were in elementary school. We have reached all of our milestones together, went to the same college, and even live in the same neighborhood. She's the closest I have to a sister, and even our parents joke that we're reborn twins. Needless to say, Amy is one of the most important people in my life. At the end of my master's, I met Danny, 31-year-old male. He hired me as a tutor, and after a few sessions, he asked me out. I had never dated someone younger, but he was very sweet and I liked him, so I said yes. We have been together ever since. He has an older brother, Bobby, 39-year-old male, who was introduced to Amy at a house party I hosted a few years later. The two were immediately smitten with each other and they started dating. Eventually, Bobby asked Amy to marry him. During the wedding preparation, Danny casually mentioned how it would be a cute idea to propose during his brother's wedding. Bobby agreed, but both Amy and I immediately shut it down. I told Danny I found that kind of thing tacky. A person's wedding is a special day for them, and tainting it with stealing the attention was just wrong. After that discussion, they stopped talking about it, so we continued with the preparations. At the wedding reception, Bobby suddenly stopped the music to make an announcement. He said that the day was very special as he was marrying the love of his life, and he continued singing praises to Amy. I thought it was a cute gesture, so I just moved to sit on my chair to listen to the speech. Then Bobby said a sentence that made me dread what was coming, and now the day is more special thanks to my brother's announcement. Suddenly, Danny was in front of me, kneeling with a box. Amy was in tears and ran out. I screamed at Danny, telling him he was a jerk, and went to follow Amy. At first, she was angry at me, thinking I was involved in it. So were the other bridesmaids. Thankfully, one of the girls had seen me call out Danny and told the others about it. I assured Amy that I would never do this to her. We hugged and we all left the venue to go to Amy's suite. We later found out through the brother's mother that Bobby gave Danny permission without speaking to Amy about it. I called Danny that same night to tell him we were through, and I wanted him out of my apartment by the end of the week. I sent my mom to pick up my dog and parrot, just to make sure he didn't do anything to them or take them with him. He ended up taking my TV and game consoles. I had them before he moved in, but his mother was kind enough to bring the consoles back. As far as I'm concerned, he can keep the stupid TV. Amy is now attempting to get her marriage annulled since she feels she can't trust Bobby. The boy's mother has been nothing but a saint to us. She even reimbursed Amy the money she spent on the wedding and told her to use the honeymoon with one of her friends. So Amy and I are now packing up to go to Australia. She and Bobby had postponed it for a month so they could have a full month of vacation. I work as a freelancer from home, so I'll just bring my laptop. Since this whole fiasco, Danny has been constantly calling and texting me. Some of his friends have joined in as well, claiming I'm a jerk for ending a 10-year relationship over a mistake. They insist that he only wanted to make a cute gesture to prove how much he loves me. However, the cute gesture was taking over my best friend's wedding after I had clearly expressed my dislike for that kind of thing. Still, a part of me wonders if I am overreacting. So, am I the jerk in this situation? To add, to the people PMing me to call me names or insult me, have the courage to post in public or just leave me alone. I have no interest in cowards that hurl insults in private. Also, for the record, even if it had been the perfect proposal, for personal reasons, I would have refused to marry. We were not discussing marriage. Far from it. Now, for a few comments before the update. Comment 1. If they had not been expressly told no, then I would say you are overreacting. They blatantly disregarded both of your wishes and knew they were doing it. There is no overacting to that in such an important moment. Not the jerk. Listening is not very hard. Comment 2. Not the jerk. You and Amy said no. You said you thought those kinds of proposals were tacky, and you're not wrong. and that stupid butthole went ahead and did it anyway. He does not respect you. Good for you for dumping his butt. Enjoy your trip. Now, for the update, I'm still dealing with the aftermath of the wedding incident, and it was a couple of weeks ago when it all happened. My best friend, Amy, and I returned from our trip to Australia a week ago. Honestly, it was a much-needed break. We spent our time relaxing on the beach, soaking up the sun, and enjoying each other's company, trying to forget about everything that had happened before. Amy's been trying to process her feelings about Bobby. I can't blame her. She looked so happy before the wedding, and now, I don't know if she'll ever feel that way again. Anyway, a few days after we got back from Australia, I checked my social media for the first time since the wedding. I really didn't want to see it, but I had to know what was going on. When I opened Instagram, the first thing I saw was a post from Danny, my ex, with his friends. I thought I was going to be sick. He looked so happy and carefree, like nothing ever happened. One picture showed him at a bar with his friends, laughing and having a good time. It really bothered me. I guess I expected him to be more broken up about everything that happened, but I was just kidding myself. Amy suggested we focus on moving forward, not on him, and I agreed. She was right, he's not worth my time. A few days later, we went to a mutual friend's birthday party. That's where I saw Bobby for the first time since the wedding. I didn't know what to expect when I saw him. I thought he would be just as happy as Danny was, but he looked different. He looked sad, and I felt bad for him. He came up to Amy and me and apologized for the proposal incident. He said he regretted it and wanted to talk to her about it. Amy was polite, but clearly still hurt. She didn't say much, and I could tell it was hard for her to even look at him. Honestly, I felt uncomfortable during the encounter, so I focused on the party. I didn't want to be around that kind of sadness anymore. A few days after the party, I got a text from Danny asking to meet. I ignored it. I didn't want to talk to him. But then I found myself thinking about our past. I remembered the good times, and it hurt. I missed him, but I couldn't forget what he did. Meanwhile, Amy decided to indulge in some self-care and signed up for a pottery class. She asked me to come with her to the first class, so I did. We met a few new people there, and one of the classmates, a guy named Mark, started chatting with me. He was friendly and funny, which made the class so much more enjoyable. I think we needed that, Amy and I, a little joy in our lives. Amy noticed the chemistry, and she kept teasing me about it. I brushed it off, focusing on the class instead. I didn't want to think about anything else. A week later, Amy got a call from Bobby, asking if they could meet to talk. She hesitated, but agreed to meet him at a local cafe. I felt uneasy about the meeting. I feared it would lead to more drama, but I didn't say anything. I just supported her. During our pottery classes, Mark and I started hanging out more often. We went out for coffee after class, and we talked and laughed so easily. It was nice. The night before Amy's meeting with Bobby, she confided in me about her worries. I reassured her that I would support whatever decision she made, no matter what. She looked so uncertain, and I wanted her to feel safe about whatever she decided. Amy met Bobby the next day, and I was anxious about what would happen. Later that evening, she called me, sounding upset. Bobby revealed he had spoken to Danny, trying to mend things. I felt the anger rise in me, but I reminded myself to stay calm for Amy's sake. I couldn't let my feelings get in the way of what she was going through. She was frustrated that Bobby would talk to Danny without considering her feelings. I suggested we go out for dinner to distract from the situation. She agreed, and we went to our favorite restaurant. At dinner, Amy got a text from Bobby asking to meet again. I knew that was a red flag. I encouraged her to stand her ground regarding Bobby. I didn't want him to hurt her again, and I was scared that if she met him again, he would do something else to hurt her. The next day, Danny confronted me at the pottery studio, claiming he wanted to talk. I firmly told him to leave, stating I had nothing to say. I was done with him. He left, but not before telling me I was making a mistake. I didn't know what he meant by that, and I didn't care. What more could he do to me? A week later, Amy decided to meet Bobby again, wanting closure. I offered to go with her for support, but she insisted on going alone. I didn't know why she wanted that, but I respected her decision. After the meeting, she returned home looking defeated. I wanted to know what happened, but I didn't want to push her. She revealed that Bobby had proposed again, wanting another chance. She was quiet about it, and I could tell she was still processing everything. She didn't know what to do, and I didn't know how to help her. To answer a few questions, the social media post from Danny caused a stir among their mutual friends, many of whom supported the narrator. The narrator and Amy rejected offers to talk about the incident, wanting to move on. Mark and the narrator are still casually seeing each other, enjoying pottery classes together. My best friend Amy, 37-year-old female, just got married last week. I was her maid of honor, and I worked extremely hard to ensure her wedding was a success. For the most part, it went well. My friend looked beautiful, the food was great, and the flowers and decorations were incredible. She was so happy, and it made me feel proud to be a part of the group that worked to give her such an important day. Amy and I have been friends since we were in elementary school. We have reached all of our milestones together, went to the same college, and even live in the same neighborhood. She's the closest I have to a sister, and even our parents joke that we're reborn twins. Needless to say, Amy is one of the most important people in my life. At the end of my master's, I met Danny, 31-year-old male. He hired me as a tutor, and after a few sessions, he asked me out. I had never dated someone younger, but he was very sweet and I liked him, so I said yes. We have been together ever since. Am I the idiot for refusing to host my brother's engagement party after his fiancée threw away my late father's DVD? Am I the idiot for refusing to host my brother's fiancée who threw away my late father's DVD and called me a rapist enabler? Am I the idiot for refusing to host my brother's engagement party after his fiancée threw away my late father's DVD? Am I the idiot for refusing to host my brother's engagement party after his fiancée trashed my late father's DVD? Am I the idiot for refusing to host my brother's engagement party after his fiancée threw away my late father's DVD and called me a rapist enabler? Am I the idiot for refusing to host my brother's engagement party after his fiancée threw away my late father's DVD? Am I the idiot for refusing to host my brother's engagement party after his fiancée called me a rapist enabler and threw away my late father's DVD? Am I the idiot for refusing to host my brother's engagement party because his fiancée called me a rapist enabler? Am I the idiot for refusing to host my brother's engagement party because his fiancée called me a rapist enabler? Am I the idiot for refusing to host my brother's engagement party after his girlfriend called me a rapist enabler? Some background first. 2 years ago, I had some friends and family over for a small barbecue, including my brother's new girlfriend. I'll call her Missy, who I hadn't met yet at that point. At some point during the afternoon, Missy came up to me and said that she noticed that my DVD collection included a copy of Bill Cosby himself. For those who aren't familiar, this was an approximately 90-minute stand-up special that came out in 1983, and for a long time it was considered one of the best stand-up specials ever. I explained that the DVD had been my dad's and had sentimental value. I went on to say that my dad and I had watched that special together multiple times, first on VHS and later on DVD, and our mutual love of stand-up comedy was something that we bonded over. A couple of hours later, I was cleaning up in the kitchen, and I noticed my Cosby DVD sitting in the garbage can. When I confronted Missy about it, she said that all of Cosby's old material should be destroyed and accused me of being a rapist enabler and apologist. I told her that regardless of her opinion, she didn't get to destroy my personal property because she found it offensive and told her she was no longer welcome in my home. She stormed out in a huff, and my mom and stepdad had to give my brother a ride home. She and my brother are still together, and we are coldly polite when we see each other at family occasions held at other locations. She has never apologized to me, and as far as I'm concerned, she's still not welcome in my home. Current day. 2 weeks ago, my brother proposed to Missy. My mom called me and asked if she could host an engagement party at my house since I have much more space. My mom and stepdad live in a small condo, and my brother and Missy live in an apartment, and I own a house with a backyard. I told my mom no, they can't have the party at my place. as Missy isn't welcome in my home and never will be. Well, that opened a shitstorm of complaints and insults from all sides. My family, her family, and friends all jumped on me with both feet, bitching about how I should get over my hurt feelings and be the bigger person. So am I the idiot? To add, I got a bit more information from a mutual acquaintance after my original post. Missy's side of the story, that she has apparently been telling to all of her friends and family since the incident occurred, is she pointed out Cosby's reputation to me, and we argued about it. I supposedly threw her out of my house because she insulted my favorite comedian, and I've been holding a grudge ever since. Almost forgot. It's common knowledge in my family that I have a temper and tend to hold grudges. I still bust my brother's chops about the time he tore up several of my comic books when I was 9 and he was 5. Nobody else witnessed the confrontation between Missy and me. They just heard us shouting at each other for a minute or two, then she stormed out. I'm sure that she told my brother some variation of the story that she told everyone else, so I guess my brother believed her version of what happened. Up until now, I've kept my mouth shut about Missy because I didn't want to come across like I was trying to drive a wedge between her and my brother. Just to be clear, I didn't know that Missy was telling people a different version of events that cast her as the victim, so I wasn't aware that I needed to refute anything or defend my actions. When the subject of family occasions came up, I just declined to host it at my place, so my boundary or the specific reason why I dislike her didn't come up. Just to clear up a common misperception in the comments, Mom didn't ask me to host or pay for the party. She and my stepdad would be hosting and paying for it. They just want to have the party at my house rather than a rented venue. My brother and Missy were not aware that my mom was planning to have the party at my house until this all blew up. Also, the DVD wasn't displayed in a place of honor or anything like that. I have a bunch of DVDs in alphabetical order on 3 shelves in my entertainment center. The Cosby DVD was about a third of the way from the end on the top shelf. Now for an update. As many people here recommended, I posted on social media and sent out a blast email with a brief summary of the actual events. Unfortunately, since Missy has been spreading her sordid little tale around for 2 years, many people seem to think that I'm just trying to cover my butt or muddy the waters. I basically told everyone who doubted me to take a flying leap. I've gone no contact with my brother and Missy, and low contact with my mom and stepdad. Now for a few comments before the update. Comment 1. At this point, I would make a public post calling her out. Missy has a problem with me owning a Bill Cosby comedy special. I obviously don't support Cosby, but the special was something my dad and I enjoyed before Cosby's vile actions came to light. It's a memory of my dad that I don't want to lose. Missy believes she has the right to dispose of my possessions without my knowledge. To attempt to throw away one of the few memories I still have of my dad is unforgivable. Not the idiot. Comment 2. People who spend years lying about me and don't respect me or my property aren't allowed in my home. If you feel that Missy is entitled to a large home with a yard to throw parties in, you're welcome to supply her with one. I won't be responding to further discussions on the matter. Not the idiot. Now, for the update. 3 days after I cut contact with my brother and Missy, my brother called me, demanding to know why I was spreading lies about Missy. I refused to talk to him and just hung up. Honestly, at that point, I thought the whole situation was beyond fixing. I wasn't about to get into another fight with him over this. A week later, I went to a friend's wedding, and guess who was there? Missy and my brother, of course. Like, can I not catch a break? I saw Missy just laughing and chatting with other guests, completely ignoring all the tension. I just couldn't believe she was acting like nothing was wrong and trying to play the victim to everyone there. My brother came up to me at the wedding and insisted that we needed to talk and sort things out. I said no, stating that the matter had been settled in my mind. Missy overheard our conversation and smirked at me. That just made me even angrier. Then my brother started in on me, saying that I was ruining his engagement by refusing to host the party. I had to explain again that the incident with the DVD was the reason for my stance. He accused me of being selfish and ruining family relationships over a stupid DVD. That's when I just felt like my words were being ignored. I had no intention of staying at the wedding any longer, so I decided to leave early. A few days later, I got a group text from family planning a surprise engagement party for my brother and Missy. I was furious to see everyone included but me. I felt even more isolated at that point. So I decided to post in the family group chat, reiterating the reasons for not hosting for Missy. The family responded with mixed reactions. Some supported me, while others sided with my brother and Missy. My brother accused me of trying to ruin their happiness in front of everyone. The tension got worse when my mom chimed in saying it was time to let go of the past. I felt completely betrayed because my mom seemed to be siding with Missy and my brother. My aunt messaged me privately, offering support and saying she understood my feelings. I felt some relief, but I was still upset about the division in my family. Days later, I got a phone call from my mom asking me to reconsider my stance for the sake of family peace. I declined and expressed my hurt feelings about being misunderstood. My mom then claimed that Missy had apologized privately, which I found really hard to believe. A family dinner was planned for the weekend, and I was pressured to attend despite my reservations. At the dinner, the atmosphere was so tense. My brother and Missy acted as if nothing was wrong. I felt completely out of place while everyone else was laughing and sharing stories. I overheard Missy telling a friend about how they had drama with me, painting a totally false image. I confronted Missy about her comments, but she just brushed it off, saying it was just family gossip. Of course, my brother jumped in to defend her, which only made me more frustrated. I felt cornered and decided to leave the dinner early. The next day, I got a message from my mom saying that she was disappointed in my behavior. I felt it was so unfair to be blamed for the family conflict when I was just standing up for myself. Then my brother and Missy announced their engagement party would be held at a local venue, and I was excluded. I found out from a family member that Missy was spreading rumors about my character. At that point, I decided to take a break from family gatherings to avoid any further conflict. My brother sent one last message, saying he hoped I would come to my senses and be part of the family. I couldn't believe he would still try to manipulate me into playing happy families with him and Missy. Mini update. My brother's fiancé and I have similar friend groups from college, which is why I keep running into them at events. My best friend Amy, 37-year-old female, just got married last week. I was her maid of honor, and I worked extremely hard to ensure her wedding was a success. For the most part, it went well. My friend looked beautiful, the food was great, and the flowers and decorations were incredible. She was so happy, and it made me feel proud to be a part of the group that worked to give her such an important day. Amy and I have been friends since we were in elementary school. We have reached all of our milestones together, went to the same college, and even live in the same neighborhood. She's the closest I have to a sister, and even our parents joke that we're reborn twins. Needless to say, Amy is one of the most important people in my life. At the end of my master's, I met Danny, 31-year-old male. He hired me as a tutor, and after a few sessions, he asked me out. I had never dated someone younger, but he was very sweet and I liked him, so I said yes. We have been together ever since. I'm an idiot for exposing my ex-boyfriend's secret vasectomy to our friends after he lied about why we broke up. I'm an idiot for exposing my ex's secret vasectomy to our friends after he lied about wanting kids. I'm an idiot for exposing my ex vasectomy to our friends after he lied about why we didn't have kids. I'm an idiot for exposing my lying ex-boyfriend's secret vasectomy to our friends. I'm an idiot for exposing my lying ex-boyfriend after he secretly got a vasectomy and wasted 7 years of my life. I'm an idiot for exposing my ex-boyfriend's vasectomy. Lied to our friends after he tried to blame me for our breakup. I'm an idiot for exposing my lying ex-boyfriend's vasectomy to our friends after he tried to manipulate me. I'm an idiot for exposing my lying ex-boyfriend's vasectomy to our friends after he tried to manipulate me. I'm an idiot for breaking up with my boyfriend after finding out he had a vasectomy and lied it for years. I'm an idiot for breaking up with my boyfriend after he hid his vasectomy from me for years. Saying I'm heartbroken and angry is an understatement. I, 29-year-old female, and my now ex-boyfriend, 34-year-old male, have been dating for a little over 7 years. We met through a dating app, and we instantly connected. In the beginning of our relationship, I didn't think much about marriage and kids, but we talked about it, and although I don't care for marriage, I've always been certain that I wanted 1-2 kids, and he agreed to having kids in the future. I emphasize this because during our very first date, I told him that I wanted to start a family, as it is very important to me. If he had told me back then that he didn't want kids, I wouldn't have continued the relationship. A few years ago, we were both doing well financially. I worked from home and made decent money, and so did he. We had recently purchased our first home together, so I suggested that we start trying for kids within the next few years. He agreed and seemed just as enthusiastic as I was. However, despite actively trying to conceive, I wasn't getting pregnant. I became extremely anxious about it and started thinking that something was wrong with me. I started taking vitamins, eating healthier, and exercising more, but I still couldn't get pregnant. It greatly affected my self-esteem. How can some people get pregnant even with perfect use of birth control, while I couldn't get pregnant despite tracking my periods and doing everything right? I felt terrible. My boyfriend would often dismiss it, saying that it's okay, or that maybe we're not meant to be parents. He would then emphasize how great our relationship was, how perhaps me not getting pregnant was a sign, and that even if we didn't have kids, we could enjoy being a couple with dual incomes and no children. While there is nothing wrong with choosing to be child-free, that is not what I personally desire. If I can't have biological kids, I would be perfectly fine with adoption or fostering. However, in my future, I have always envisioned having a family with kids, and that is what I have worked hard for all these years. Anyway, to make a long story short, after a year and a half of trying without success, I decided to visit a fertility clinic and undergo some tests to check my fertility. To my surprise, my tests came back completely normal. The clinic then suggested that my partner get his sperm quality tested. When I got home and informed him about it, he became visibly nervous and made excuses to avoid going. He said he was busy, scared of doctors, or that we should keep trying for a few more years. I found this suspicious because he is typically a hypochondriac and is not afraid of doctors. After questioning him about his odd behavior and pressing for answers, yes, I know it was wrong, he blurts out that he had a vasectomy 4 years ago. I was shocked. I still don't understand. We had often talked about our future and our hypothetical family, even before considering kids seriously. Moreover, we had been actively trying to conceive for over a year. He then admitted that he decided against having kids some time ago, but never told me because he thought that if he did, I would break up with him, something he didn't want. When I asked him why he didn't tell me when we were trying for kids and aware of how depressed I became due to my apparent fertility issues, he said that he hoped I would give up on the idea after seeing that I wasn't getting pregnant and that we could continue the relationship as it was. We had a huge argument. I was extremely angry and felt deceived and strung along. And although I know I am still relatively young, I had hoped to become a mother before turning 30, and now all those plans have fallen apart. I told him that I would have to start over with someone else because he wasted my time. By that point, we were both crying and shouting. He begged me to stay and offered to reverse his vasectomy so we could try for a baby for real. But I broke up with him on the spot and packed my belongings. I still love him and want this more than anything, but I don't think I'll ever be able to forgive him for lying to me for years about something he knows is so important to me. Now for an update. It has been approximately a week since our argument. I have moved out of the house and am temporarily living with a friend until I sort out the legal aspects of the housing situation. I had to get a temporary phone because mine has been constantly ringing and receiving texts from him and his family asking me to give him another chance and saying that everyone makes mistakes, how he was scared to tell me, how now he is open to having kids, and that we should get back together and consider counseling, etc. I don't believe I can do it. What kind of relationship would we have if we were to reconcile? I don't want to constantly wonder what else he is lying to me about, but everyone is making me feel like I'm the bad person for not forgiving him when he finally came clean to me. So, am I in the wrong? Now, for a few comments before the update. Comment 1. How is him choosing to get a vasectomy and hiding it from you a mistake? That was a choice. A mistake is him getting you red roses when you like yellow. Getting a vasectomy and then letting you think you're infertile was a choice he continuously made. He is now experiencing the consequences of his choice, and unfortunately, he dragged you down with him. Go find someone you can trust and won't make major life changes without talking to you about it. Ignite anyone telling you differently. Not the idiot. Comment 2. Not the idiot. As a guy who's had a vasectomy, I would never date a woman who wants kids and lie to her about it. That is a total deceiving move. Also, when you have the procedure done, they make sure you understand reversals are not guaranteed. I would expect to be dumped and ghosted if I were him, which is also what you should do to him. Now, for the update. I'm still at my friend's place a few days after moving out, still sorting through my stuff. It's like I'm in a never-ending episode of Extreme Makeover My Life edition. My ex keeps texting me nonsense about how he's been seeing a therapist and has changed. Like, cool dude, but I'm not your therapist and I don't care. I just ignore his messages and keep packing up my life. I swear, the only thing he's committed to changing is the name of his pizza delivery guy, because that's all he's been doing since this whole thing blew up. Then, his family starts reaching out, like, seriously, you're concerned about my decision to leave a man who hid a vasectomy from me? Where were you when I was crying in the fetal position every month because I thought I was infertile? One evening, I get a call from my sister inviting me to a family dinner at our parents' house. I'm a little hesitant because, honestly, I don't know if I can deal with my mom's "so when are you getting married" interrogation right now. But I decide to go anyway. I need some normalcy in my life, you know? At dinner, my brother and sister-in-law announce they're expecting a second child. My parents are super happy, asking when I plan on starting a family. Their excitement is sweet, but it's like rubbing salt in a wound right now. I mean, can't a girl just eat in peace without being interrogated about her uterus? We're all sitting there trying to enjoy dinner when out of nowhere, my ex shows up uninvited. I can feel my stomach drop as he walks in, looking all nervous but determined. My parents are confused, like, why is your ex-boyfriend here? And I'm like, trust me, I don't know either. He starts talking about how he's committed to changing for me. And I'm sitting there thinking, can we not do this right now? Can we just eat our pasta and forget about the fact that my ex is now a part of this family dinner? My brother tries to lighten the mood, making jokes about parenting and diaper duty. But my ex just keeps interrupting, trying to explain how he's ready to be a father now. Like, dude, I just had pasta. Can we not have this conversation over garlic bread? A heated discussion breaks out, with him insisting he's learned from his mistakes, and I'm sitting there like, how many mistakes did you have to make before you learned? Trust was broken, and it can't be rebuilt overnight. He starts getting defensive, raising his voice, and my parents look uncomfortable. My sister tries to mediate, suggesting we talk things out privately, and I'm like, no, I really need some space from him. So he storms out, slamming the door behind him, and leaves this heavy silence in the room. Later that night, I find a message from my ex's sister on social media. Apparently, he's been telling family members that he didn't want kids with me because I was too ambitious. My anger is boiling over. I decide to expose his lies. I screenshot the messages and send them to our mutual friends. The next day, I get a ton of messages from friends who are shocked by his behavior. Some are just like, I can't believe he said that. And others are like, you go girl, don't let him manipulate you. I attend a local charity event the following weekend because I need to get out. At the event, I run into a couple of friends who ask about my ex. I share the truth about his past lies and the vasectomy, and they're like, what? No way. Word spreads among our mutual friends, and I hear that several have confronted him about his deceit. Apparently, he's trying to play the victim, claiming he's misunderstood, but nobody's buying it. My friends tell me his reputation is taking a hit, and honestly, I couldn't be happier. One day at a coffee shop, I overhear a group discussing my ex's recent behavior, and they're saying bad things. I'm just sitting there sipping my latte, feeling awesome. Days later, I get a message from a former colleague who used to be friends with my ex. She shares that he had been boasting about getting away with his lies. Now I'm just like, does this guy ever learn? I decide to attend a local event where my ex will be present. I walk in confidently, knowing his reputation has been tarnished. I spot him across the room, looking all uneasy as he talks to others. I can't wait to see his reaction when he spots me. Thank you for reading. If you like this video, you'll probably like these too. Also, while you're here, please consider subscribing. It's your support that keeps this channel alive and allows me to make better and longer videos. Have a great day.